Yes, people. Big up 12th man's back. The show's back. Weekend previews back, which means the weekend football is on its way. International football. We say goodbye and see you later. Unfortunately, I have to do it all over again in a few weeks' time. But big up to my panel today and big up to everybody else who's come over from Saeed's channel. Much love. Really appreciate you coming over and saying hi. Please make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and make sure you're following all of these guys on their Twitter and social media handles here, as you can see them. Big up to Sam from Back of the Net podcast, mate. It's been too long, Sam. I know we spoke earlier, but since you've been on here, it's been a while, man. How are you, bro?
Yeah, very good, mate. Long time no see. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. I say that through gritted teeth. Never like Arsenal appearing at Dean Court because bad things happen. But you never know. Football under the lights on the South Coast, anything can happen.
Yeah, come on, man. I love going to your play. I've said to you, I'm gutted I didn't get a ticket. I love going to Bournemouth away. It's such a good away day, man. It really is. But there we go. Maybe next year. Flawless, what are you telling me, bro?
Hey, big up for having me, man. Much appreciated, man. Shouts to the whole panel as well. Shame club football's back from a United fan perspective, but international football is also awful too. So it didn't really matter, to be honest. It didn't really matter.
It's weird. I just come from Saeed, and he's like, "Can we just stay with an international football?" It was not stressful.
But international football also stinks. So it's like either way. People are like, you glad it's over? No. Did you want it to end? It made no difference.
Nah, come on, man. Love for coming on, man. Always a pleasure speaking to you, bro. Roms,
nice.
the nerves kicking in yet, Roms?
Yeah, I respect. We'll get into it, but I respect them. We're at home, man. I back us against anyone at home. But big up the panel. Big up Sam. First time streaming with you. Nice to meet you. Big up the chat. Smash them lights. And yeah, ready to speak about ball, man. Ready to speak about ball.
Come on, bro. Absolute pleasure. Dan, literally just streamed with you. Always seems like we're on together at the moment, bruv. And a little bit different watching the Chelsea at the moment, but how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Pleasure to be back on. Hello to all the chat and everyone on the panel as well. Good to meet you, Sam. Yeah, it's a bit different, mate. Chelsea seem to be in a good patch rather than a negative one, which we spent sort of all our season in the summer. But I'm still not sure about this big game coming up at the weekend, mate. It's a tough one to call.
It is, man. That's where we're going to start. We're going to start with something crazy because I was listening earlier. I think it was on Mo's channel. There's so many channels going on at the moment, and it's like hard to keep up with who said what and what, right? But I heard someone say that only Palmer gets into a combined 11 with the Liverpool-Chelsea situation, and I thought that might be a bit far on Chelsea's part because as much as Chelsea have been a mess for the last 12 months, some of the football they've been playing of late has been a lot better. And I think when you look at players like Cucurella, Caicedo, Nkunku, Jadon Sancho, even Neto, I mean, obviously he's not going to get ahead of Salah, but there's other names surely that we can talk about in this combined 11 situation. Now, most people don't know from this channel, and if you've streamed me before, I cannot stand combined 11s, man. Sorry. I actually hate them. Like, I honestly want to put them in room 101. Do you remember that show? Yeah, I honestly want to put them in room 101. I hate doing them, man, because everyone starts saying, what you could do is you could force him out on the right, and that gives more room for so-and-so. No, like, it doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? Somebody is your left winger, and somebody is your right winger, and you end up having all these mad comments. All right, let's change the formation then, so we can force everyone in. And it's like, actually, no, it don't work like that. So I wanted to, instead of doing a combined 11, I wanted to actually talk about how far both these clubs are away from each other, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, Liverpool were miles ahead of Chelsea last season. I don't think it was close, if I'm honest. I streamed with Don a few times, and Don said to me that he thinks Chelsea's squad's better and that we actually, with the right manager, would be ahead of Liverpool, etc., etc. But look, I thought it was not madness at the time, but I disagreed with him. I thought Liverpool's squad was better. What you can't deny is that Chelsea's actually got a really good squad depth, right? Because their bench, to be fair, you can actually have some players to bring on now. But, Roms, from a Liverpool point of view, real talk, you're going to be biased, I get it, but you're a real one, you're a straight talker, you're level-headed with Liverpool. Surely Cole Palmer's not the only player that you can say walks into the Liverpool 11. Or is he? Do you agree with that?
Do you know what, Dan? It's tough with these things because everyone's got their different stipulations. Because I literally did a combined 11 yesterday on BSB, Big Up Months, and it was off the 7 games. Then some people do overall. Then some people do the past 3 seasons. It depends on your stipulation. I think if we're gonna go overall, in my let's you you would have to say it's heavily dominated by us. If you're going to go recent times, I think that's a bit disingenuous to Chelsea. I'd probably have Caicedo, Cucurella, and Palmer. I'm going to be honest, I only put 3 Chelsea players in my team. I think the other 7 are from us. But any Liverpool Caicedo is just Palmer. There's a reason we were crying out for XYZ player in the summer. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's not what we think it is as a family. So it's disingenuous to say Palmer. I think for me, Caicedo, Cucurella, and Palmer. There's other players that could, like you could say Jackson and Jota. Jackson's had a better start to the season. Sancho's coming, but the sample size is a bit smaller. He's only had, I think, he missed the first 3 games for them. Colwell and Fofana as a centre back partnership they've been cold this season, but not as good as a Kanai and Van Dijk. Gusto's also a very good right back for me, one of the best in the league, but he's not necessarily Trent. Probably a bit more sound defensively, but I think overall as a right back, you would probably have Trent there. So it's not as clear cut as people think, and that's the thing. I've respected Chelsea last season and this season. I had them top 4 last year, as Lewis would say. Big up Lewis, touch tax there. And then this season they started off well, because you look at their team, they have got quality players, and this is why, don't get twisted, big up Don. Sometimes he can go overboard, but when he was saying to people from early, we've got good players, I never disregarded that, because I can't be a hypocrite and say I don't rate Chelsea. I've wanted at least 8-9 of their players some point in the past. I wanted Nkunku before we signed Jota. I wanted Caicedo and Lavia, and we all know how that ended. I wanted Colwell when we got quoted 80 million. I've liked Palmer from City. Enzo before he went there. I wouldn't want him now, but Enzo before he went there, I liked him. Gusto I actually rate a lot of their players. So I'm not going to be disingenuous and say this and that, but I don't think any more than, I'll go 4. For me, only 3 players get in, but I wouldn't go any more than 4 Chelsea players. We're a team that have won things the last 4 or 5 seasons. We got seasoned veterans. That I wouldn't have any more than 4, but everyone's different. But they're my 3 that get in my combined 11. But like you, Dan, I hate doing that.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think that's really sensible. For me, there's no more. I can't put any more than 4 tops at Chelsea, man. And like, I don't know about yourself, Dan, as a Chelsea fan, but let me bring up what I don't like doing this, obviously, as I've said it, but I've kind of I'm stuck with the last 2, but I'm kind of thinking that the rest of it at the moment is pretty easy there. Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Kenyatte, Cucurella, because I like Robertson, but he's not been as good, to be fair. And Cucurella, the last part of last season and this season, I think, has been. I understand he's injured, so we're not doing this on injuries, because Alisson's in there as well. I think Caicedo, Alexis, and Palmer. I don't think there's anyone else getting in that midfield, if I'm honest with you. Other than Gravenberch, if you want to say.
I'll probably swap Gravenberch for. Listen, McAllister's been cold, and I think because Gravenberch has been so good this season, he's kind of going under the radar. But McAllister's been very good from basically about a year, because he had a shaky start when he first came in. He's been flawless since at least October, right? But this season, I think Caicedo and Palmer I got no qualms with, but it would have to be Gravenberch from McAllister. He's been sublime for us. So absolutely sublime.
Would you, if you had money to buy one of them 2 players, Gravenberch or McAllister, which one would you buy?
All right, so we're going to go overall McAllister. He's had a more
that's kind of where I was going. Because if you're going on form, I was going to go by form, but it's been like 6 games. So I think if we're in game week 20, then I could go Gravenberch gets in because we're going on form. But if we're going overall, I think Caicedo and McAllister have done more at Brighton and at Liverpool and Chelsea, in my opinion. But the front 3, I can't call it. I really don't know what to do. I mean, Salah's clearly on the right, but what do you do? Go Jota and Sancho, or do you go Jota and Diaz, or do you go with Nkunku and so on? It's hard, man. It's hard.
This one's actually tough. Dad, what do you think as the Chelsea? It is actually tricky.
Yeah, it's a bit, mate. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I find it tough. I'm not sure on these combined 11s either, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I don't know, man. I can't call it.
I think Jota's got to be in there, man, because he's an absolute killer.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jota's an absolute killer, right? But his injuries are a bit of an issue.
Yeah, they
so
are.
then I'm like,
mate. And
I
feel
feel like
Jackson's been better this season.
Yeah,
That's the thing, man. This is why I first asked that. You said this team isn't on form. So if it's not on form, I think Jota would get in. But if you're going to go for what we've seen this season, Jackson's been clear. Yeah, Jackson's been clear. Jota's not been good. That's the thing. He's not even got out of first gear. I think it's 2 goals in 7-8 games. And forget even his goals. his overall play for us has been a bit underwhelming. But this, I like that because it shows he can still go up levels as the season progresses. But it has to be Jackson,
If,
man.
if we're going
And
for
Kunku's our top scorer, though.
More than Jackson.
Yeah, he's got 7, yeah.
I'd put Nkunku ahead of Jackson, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's tough, mate. Like, and Nkunku can't even get a start in the Prem. He's only played like 120 minutes, but he's got 7 goals in all comps. I don't know, mate. Like, probably
let's
Jackson.
take it away. Let's take it away from Roms and Dan then, because we've got neutrals on here, right? What are you saying, Sam? What are you saying, Flawless?
I think for Jota, at least, I mean, he only usually plays 50% of the games in any given season for Liverpool. I think he's had 6 Premier League appearances this season so far. So he's played more than what he would usually. But I don't know. It just there is such an imbalance where like certain positions are just completely sorted, like with Mo Salah, etc. But the left side is actually relatively weak. Diaz has got a shout there, but I don't know really. I'm one of these people that's very sceptical about combined 11s because, like you say, how far back do you go? I mean, the last left, I think Liverpool started with Skimmikas left back for their last game against Palace. Do you do it? But how do you do it? But I don't know. I think it's
I'll tell you what,
very
Sam,
tricky one.
let me see if I can make it easier for you and Flawless, right? I'm giving you a transfer budget, and you can buy a left winger and a striker with it out of the players that are left of Liverpool and Chelsea. Which of the two you're going to buy?
Oh, so that's not overall, isn't it? Because that's what I was.
Yeah, because that's where I'm kind of at. Because otherwise Ryan Gravenberch would be in here. We probably would. We probably wouldn't have a couple of players in it. But Alisson's injured at the moment, so is Cucurella suspended. I'm not doing it just for this game. I'm doing it overall. Because I just want to know what overall both squads look like.
So if you're saying overall, Jota gets in. If we're saying overall, if I can pick a striker out of the ones that are left, I'm taking Jota.
I agree.
Left hand side, I'm taking Sancho. Even though Diaz has been in good form in the summer, I'm taking Sancho.
Yeah, I think Jota as well, just because he's a player that always has impact, and like whether he comes on from the bench or not, he always seems to score goals or get an assist. So I would put him in there for sure.
Because this is the actual Flawless and me are so similar sometimes, man. This is the team I started with, right? That is the team right there that I started with. And I thought, can I put Sancho in there? He's played like 3 games for Chelsea. Do you know what I'm saying? Jota, he's injured. So I kind of left it to see if we can discuss it. I should have just kept it as it is. Because if we're going by that, I would have that 11. That's the 11 I would go with, man.
But it's also about, like I said, what is the criteria we are using for it? Is it just this season? Is it overall? Like you just mentioned there, you set the criteria. You said you have,
so it's
you have a budget. You can pick the players. It's just based off straight ability. So if we're doing straight ability,
that's what I believe combined 11 should always be about, right? Because you're not going by just one game or just 6 months of play. You're going by what you would like to take forward for the next season. And if you were taking that 11 for the next season, I don't think you can deny that's the best out there. I really don't think you can.
Yeah, that's quality. That's quality.
I think also with these things, there's a recency bias as well. You're based on the last few games. You often forget how players played at the start of the season. So if you're doing one halfway through or towards the end, it is going to be largely different. I think this is where Chelsea have maybe got a bit of a disadvantage in some ways because there's a lot of new players that have been flung together, new manager as well. So the players that you see, we don't really know what potential they've got. Whereas Liverpool, they've got a new manager, but largely they've got a very settled squad that's played together for now a couple of seasons. So I think it's always going to be, erring on the side of Liverpool for this one for sure.
I mean, look, Yusuf in the chat has said, "What, Sancho over Diaz?" What are you saying, Roms? Is that fair or is that unfair?
For me, that I've been told to give Diaz apologies, but it's like, sorry, 10 games is not. I need 6 months of, because Diaz started like this last season. I know it's unfortunate, the kidnapping of his dad, but I've always had Sancho, always. I can't now say I would have Diaz over Sancho because it would be hypocritical of me. So I agree with you and Flawless. It's literally Jota and Sancho if we're going overall, because if you're then going to go overall, forget what he's done in the Prem. You need to take into account what he's done at Dortmund and etc. and Champions League, etc. So you can't just look at what he's done in the Prem. So for me, I think Sancho is the better player. But again, like Flawless said, why I actually like this starting 11 and this criteria, Dan, because you set a criteria. I've done 3 combined 11s this week. One was no injuries and no injured or suspended players could be in. The other one was overall, and now this one is going to a season what you would pick if you had a budget. But you laid the foundation from early, so yeah, man. I think, and again, if you're gonna go overall, then I would have probably put Robbo over Cucurella. But I think the past year, most Liverpool fans are in agreement. Robbo's on a slow decline, so I don't think it's any outrage that Cucurella is in there. But then I think Dan would admit Cucurella's only been good, I'd say, the past 6 months or so. I'd say from the turn of the year. It's not like he's been flawless his whole Chelsea career. So yeah.
What are you saying,
Do you think
Dan?
that team's good enough? Do you think that team's good enough to win the league?
I knew you were going to say that. It's got everything. It stays fit. It's got everything to go for it.
Absolutely. What is lacking?
That's what I was wondering. It looks all right, doesn't it?
That's definitely good enough to win the league. Defensively sound, offensively good. You would. It's balanced. Even though it's the best players, they're actually balanced. Like McAllister, Palmer, Caicedo is a good balance in the midfield. It's not like you got 3 attacking players or 3 defensive players. There's a
Few
mix
of
of
them have
everything.
played together before as well, so they're
Brighton,
understanding.
Yeah, like Sancho, Salah, Jota are all good foils for each other as well. I think that's a good. Yeah, I think this team could definitely win the league.
It works, man. It works. I mean, the only thing I will say is Jota needs to stay fit, but Liverpool fans have been saying that for years.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
we got Nkunku off the bench. We bless.
yeah, Pedro Neto can come on as well.
Yeah, true. The bench is stacked. Actually, the bench is stacked to these, isn't it?
Good teams, man. It's 2 good teams, man. That's why I think this game's going to be
You
quality.
got Reece James and Robertson on the bench as fullbacks.
There's actually breaking news that I'm reading now.
Go on.
McAllister might be a doubt. Today he missed full training and he's been doing a gym. He's been doing a gym session by himself, so he could be a doubt. And if you know me, as much as Gravenberch takes all the praise this season, he's been my favorite midfielder. Because I think, when you have a player that just does their 7 out of 10 every week, and because it's come so normal, they stop getting their praise. At Flores, you remember for you lot, Michael Carrick, he was just a 7, 8 out of 10 every week. Because there was bigger names, he'll kind of go under the radar. That's been McAllister for me this season. Gravenberch taking all the headlines because we didn't really see him under Klopp. But McAllister has been second to none this season. But yeah, apparently he could be a doubt. He could be a doubt now.
That's massive for Liverpool because I'm with you, Robs. I think he's insane. I think he's so good, man.
Yeah.
He really is, man. But look, I mean, might as well stick with you, bruv. It's at Anfield, so you feel confident. I think you will win the game. We'll come on to predictions later. But how do you see this one going, bruv?
For me, I know it's cliche, but this is one in the midfield. I just think, well, now hearing that news, it's a bit mad because it completely changes my.
What is it going to be now then, your midfield trio?
Suppose that Gravenberch still, probably Jones comes into the fold. If McAllister's not fit, Jones will come into the fold. But I was saying, assuming McAllister plays, and I don't know if Dan agrees, I don't think they can start Enzo for this because I don't necessarily rate Szoboszlai going forward. But the reason why he starts is because of his industry. He's everywhere. Like, I've got to the point now where, when it's low-hanging fruit, you know what you're going to get with him going forward, but he is so pivotal to us in everything else we do. Like, I think he wins the ball the most out of the 3, etc. But I think if Enzo Fernandez starts this game, which I do think he will, he's not the most athletic. I think Szoboszlai and Gravenberch will just suffocate him. I personally think Lavia should start because I was none the wiser. I thought Lavia was still coming back from his injury. Then I've been told he was on the bench their last game and he's been training for the last 2 weeks. So sometimes no risk, no reward. They're going to say don't chuck him into a game at Anfield, but I don't see any reason for him not to start because I'll be more worried of Lavia and Caicedo and Palmer than Enzo, Caicedo and Palmer. So I think this game's won and lost in the midfield. I think the wide areas will be key. I think Luis Diaz against Malo Gusto, or I assume Gusto will probably start in it, Dan. That I don't think he'll chuck James straight back into this. But if you remember the cup final earlier this year, Diaz was giving Gusto hell. And even this season, a lot of the Chelsea fans I speak to said Gusto's not started the greatest. I think the other side now, Noni against Robbo, Noni's been good this year. It's been reflective in his output. It's been reflected in his performances. He's been good. But for me, I also think a key area is the defense because we're very good at set pieces. I know, Dan, you lot are the best at scoring from or not, but we scored quite a few from set pieces. But this is where it's an advantage for Chelsea. There's this rival narrative that, Fofana and Cucurella coming out the side weakens them. I actually think it's a blessing in disguise because I think Viega on your left, he's more equipped. Yeah. He's more equipped to deal with Salah than Cucurella because Salah always gives Cucurella hell. And then Tosin coming in for Fofana, he's a bit taller. He gives them more of that aerial presence because Van Dijk and Konate have been scoring this season from set pieces, so they're going to need height. But I think so the back four for Chelsea, I think the 2 absentees for this game in isolation actually benefits them. But I just feel that Chelsea are going to take the game to us as they should, but it will play into our hands because Forest showed if you score, not even that they scored early, but if you score and just be pragmatic, we struggle to break them down. And we've not faced an attack as potent as Chelsea and vice versa. I actually think Maresca should go pragmatic for this game because I do think we're going to go predictions later, but I do think they score first. But then I think they're going to start taking it to us and play us out our game. And you know what? You have to stick to your philosophy, but that's going to play right into our hands, I reckon. So I reckon it will be a cagey game. A lot of people are saying they think it's going to be boring and because it's never normally a good spectacle, Liverpool versus Chelsea. But I think this one will be a bit different. I can actually see this being basketball-esque, and that's a bit alien, especially the way we've played this season. We played more control, more solidity, but I can see this being a bit open and expansive for both teams.
Interested, man. DG's in the chat. He's giving it to Roms. He says, don't Lavia play for Liverpool? He's going to start with Bellingham and Fernandes or Tchouameni or Zubamendi.
Oh, my days. This dickhead, man. Big up DG.
I wrote DG, man.
Love DG, man. Gotta love DG. What a legend.
We just trolled each other all the time. That's all it is. We just trolled each other.
Love it, man. Love it. Dan, I mean, look, Roms thinks this is going to be basketball-esque, which would be phenomenal for the neutral. That's for sure. Do you think if Cole Palmer turns it on that you win this game? Do you think it's like that much pressure on him, or is it a little bit more than that?
Oh, I think if he has a good game, there's potential there that he can win a game on his own, no matter who it's against. I think he's that good. But I don't think it's that simple when you're playing a side that's looked as good as Liverpool have this season, albeit it's the same for both teams. They can only have beaten who's in front of them. So I think at that point, it makes this conversation a little bit more. That's why I said at the beginning, it's tough to call because I don't think we quite know what either team is capable of yet this season. But yeah, Cole Palmer can win a game on his own comfortably, no matter who it's against.
Nice class, man. Flawless, let me come to you about this one, man, because Chelsea, Liverpool right now, as far as you're looking at, you must be kind of not sure where to go with this one, but it's at Anfield. Liverpool, I think, probably will be favourites. Liverpool, not really been tested yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, F Liverpool all the time. Yeah, they're number one. I always want them to lose. Like, let's not get... I'm not fond of Chelsea like that, but it's always like Liverpool, always number one up. Like, with yeah, by like 110%. Like, I'm man born and bred. Like, can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? I really can't. But sorry, Dan, as you were.
Nah, come on, man. Listen, you go for it. I mean, this is going to be a good game, in my opinion, bro. Yeah. How do you see it going?
I think it will be a good game because you got 2 teams. I can push my bias to the side about not liking Liverpool and see it's 2 good teams, 2 good managers. Well, started off very, very well as well, and 2 teams that are confident. It's going to be interesting to see how they both approach the game as well. This is Liverpool and Slot's first game at home to a Big Six side. This is Maresca's first game away at a Big Six side. How do they alter it? Does Slot change his approach slightly, or does he change it drastically? Same way you were talking about Chelsea maybe going a little bit more pragmatic. How does Maresca go? Does he go, it's Anfield, let me be a bit more pragmatic, or does he go, you know what, we got all this attacking talent, let's just go for it and try and blitz him? So I think they're the interesting things because we have no previous evidence to go from. So I'm genuinely looking forward to it. It's 2 very good teams. I think it will be a good game as well.
Yeah, likewise. Sam, what are you telling me, bro, about this game?
I think that Liverpool will win it. I don't know. I just feel as though the crowd will probably get them over the line. The fact that the players just know how to handle those kind of games because invariably, like I said earlier, a lot of them have played with each other for longer than the Chelsea lads have. I think it's just imperative for Maresca that he doesn't lose it. So I can see it being a draw as well. But equally, I just think, I don't know, I just feel home advantage will pay. I think Liverpool will probably come good. I don't think it's going to be a romp or anything like that. No way. Cole Palmer's the curveball in this. But I don't know. I sense it will be like a 2-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. Before we do some predictions on this game, Martin, big up to you, man. Thanks for joining. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you jumping on, mate. Chelsea, Liverpool, or should I say Liverpool, Chelsea, because it's at Anfield. What are you telling me, bro?
I'm hoping for the draw, but I'm looking at it from selfish reasons.
Yeah, same.
I'll go and take a dour 0-0 right now. I don't mind. No, it should be. It's one of them. These big games, everyone expects fireworks and all sorts, and they end up being really boring, don't they? I don't know. It's. I mean, yeah, the Anfield crowd might get them over the line, but like I said, Cole Palmer's the special one in the Chelsea team at the moment who can turn it on. So, I mean, yeah, I'm saying a draw, but I wouldn't mind Chelsea winning either.
Yeah, look, if I had to pick one team,
I do apologise to Ron straight away. Because I don't mean to have a go at Liverpool there, but come on, I've got to put my own interest. Got to put my own interest in there as well.
Oh, of course.
Hey, take it as a compliment, Roms, innit? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, look, I'm with you, Martin. If I had to pick a team that I'd want to win, I think Liverpool are closer to us. I would go Chelsea, but I do think that if Chelsea won there, it would be a massive statement for them, and it would make a lot of people look at them seriously as well. So this game is actually quite a lot on both clubs. I think Liverpool finally being tested. Chelsea, I think they can definitely show some respect if they were to go there and pick up all three. So I think it's going to be mad. Let's do some predictions of the scoreline. Let's start with you, Sam. What are you telling me, bro? Did you say 2-1 Liverpool?
Yeah, I'll stick with 2-1. I just think, being at Anfield, I've just got a feeling that'll probably put them through. So yeah, 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going 2-1 Liverpool at Anfield, flawless. What about you, bro?
To me, just a draw. I can't really pick between. I look at it and I go, yeah, a draw. And I think both teams, obviously, you're never happy with a draw, but I don't think there'd be any anger from either manager if it was indeed a draw. Depending on how the games go, context, of course, matters if you're the much better team. But I think draw, these two teams cancel each other out and it'll be 1-1.
Roms?
Yeah, I agree with you and Sam. I think we edged this 2-1. What I will say is I think they take the lead. I think it's going to go against the run of play and then Palmer just scores out of the blue. And I actually think he scores this game. Then we'll get one before half-time and then we'll throw the kitchen sink at them. And yeah, I think we'll have too much in the end. But like I said with Chelsea, I think you can be respectful of a team without fearing them. And that's where I'm at with Chelsea. I respect them, but I don't fear them. So especially at home. So I've gone a tight 2-1 win.
Interesting. Dan, what are you telling me?
Yeah, I'm 2-2 for this one. I think it's going to be a tough game for Chelsea to come away with 3 points, but I can definitely see us potentially landing some blows, making it tough for Liverpool and making sure that they're on their game. So I also see us conceding. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. So yeah, 2-2 for me.
Interesting, man. Martin?
I'm going 1-1 each.
Interesting.
I just see both teams scoring.
Yeah. And it's mad because Chelsea actually got the best attack in the league so far statistically, and Liverpool got the best defence so far statistically. So it's going to be interesting to see where you look at it in that both ways. So yeah, we'll see.
What did they say? Unstoppable force versus a movable object. It's looking like that. And do you know what? I actually read a stat. We're the only two clubs that have 100% away record. So Chelsea travel more than they travel better than they play at home.
They definitely do. I thought you were going to say we're the only two clubs that struggled against Forest, Roms. That's what I thought.
No. I was forgetting about that one. Yeah.
One of the things I would say is that if like Chelsea or Liverpool win by 2 goals or more, I think the media hype is going to be a bit exaggerated afterwards because I still think it's Arsenal and Man City who are going to be competing on the top. I don't think by Liverpool winning 2-0 or 3-0 or whatever, I don't think it's all of a sudden going to put them in the title mix because you know what, it's a long season and you know how relentless you've got to be. Arsenal, I think, are still the closest, but I'm intrigued. I just want to see a good game of football. And like you say, it could be basketball-y. So yeah.
Interesting, man. Mash says, my happiness would be Liverpool 4, Chelsea 4. Thanks, guys, for the show. Come on, you Gunners. Do you know what? That would be an incredible game. My goodness. Can't remember the last...
For the neutrals.
For the neutrals. I'd be questioning both defences.
Yeah. Haven't been many 4-4s. Didn't Chelsea and City have
Chelsea
4-4
City, yeah. Chelsea City last year.
That was a mad game. That was crazy. I remember
thanks for that.
Yeah, that was a mad one,
You had to go on your man, didn't you?
Man, you don't care. You won the league still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you beat us in that semi-final, Martin. So you're sweet, mate.
City are crap though. It's all over there. We're falling down. Everyone's leaving.
Yeah, man. Rebuild is on. I'm hearing they need to rebuild. Apparently, you've won a treble and a league, and now you've got to rebuild.
Have you ever heard anything so stupid in your whole life? I've never seen. We'll get into it when we get to the City
We,
part, but I'm
we will,
telling you
man.
now,
I
the
got
panic
one.
stations in our own fan base is crazy at the minute.
Hey, your fans are
Crazy.
actually mad, you know. Like,
Wait,
for a
wait,
team
Martin,
that
this
won
is coming
every...
from your fan base. I thought it was
Yeah.
just outside noise.
Do
Nah.
you know what it is,
Oh.
Roms? The reality of Pep leaving suddenly is starting to hit everyone, and everyone's gone into panic mode.
Yeah.
I see
Quite
LB,
funny.
even LB was going, we need a complete rebuild.
Oh,
of Man City."
yeah, don't even, yeah. Dan, you should have seen I was texting him for about an hour after that show. Like, what are you doing? What are you panicking for? I was like giving him a bit of therapy.
Honestly, man, proper panic stations from a team who win everything. Jesus. Anyway, if you need a rebuild, what the hell does everyone else need?
That's what I said to everyone. I said,
Crazy,
you know,
man. It's crazy.
it's not like we're bringing in like the League Two managers and all this, and we're gonna get, it's like crazy what people are thinking.
It is crazy, man. Listen, I was gonna go Arsenal Bournemouth next, but we might as well stick with City because it won't be too long, I don't think. Because I think you've got a winnable game, Martin. Am I right in saying that although you lost last year, that you're not going to this year? It'll be quite comfortable. Wolves look terrible at the moment, man.
I know, but I hate these games because these are the games where you can't win because it's bottom of the league, 1 point, no wins, and everyone's expecting to go there and whack them 5-0. And it's one of them games where you can't win. If you draw or lose, meltdown. If you only win 1-0, 2-1, meltdown because it's bottom of the league. Because all people see is bottom of the league. That's all they look at. And don't get me wrong, it will depend on probably the way Pep chooses to go on Sunday. I would go a little bit more attacking, play the two wide boys with Haaland. And I'd have a go at them because Wolves are leaking goals, but they're also, what many haven't noticed, they are scoring goals as well. And City are conceding as well. We've not kept a clean sheet all season. So we are in that process where the way I call it is we always concede a shitty goal. It's what you call typical City goals. They're either world-class blinders or they're just like going in off someone's ankle. We're conceding all sorts of things at the minute, but I do think we'll have enough. I just think Gary O'Neill will change it. I do think he'll go 5 at the back on side. Because if he doesn't go 5 at the back on Sunday, he will get destroyed. He has to be a little bit more pragmatic on Sunday. He really has to. Otherwise, it'll be, as Dan knows, we'll just go there and do a Chelsea on them. If they open up like that, they'll just get killed. So. But I think Wolves will change it because they've got to. 6 games in, they haven't won yet. They've got to change it.
I agree. Look, I think this is an easy one for City. I've actually gone for a 3-0. I think it'll be comfortable for them.
Stop it.
Nah, it will be. This will be easy. I don't see Wolves this season doing much, if I'm honest, at the moment. Now, I know they've got to change it, but I wonder if they'll wait after this game, to be fair, because you might just look at Man City and go, it's Man City. How do we will try? But, and then look at who they've got in the next run of games. Because I just think Manchester City got too much for them, if I'm honest, going forward with Haaland and co. That's what I think. Anybody else on the panel see this going any other way?
No, it pretty much goes that way. Yeah. Nothing but a City win, to be honest. Wolves have been awful. They have been.
Do you think they'll go down this season, Wolves?
If you carry on playing like this, yeah.
Because I never had them this bad.
I said them and Everton from the get-go. I just think they were both sort of worried me over the summer, and Everton obviously have started picking up results, but Wolves just aren't moving the needle at all. Yeah. And O'Neill has done well, and he just looks like he's out of his depth now.
Yeah, you know what? When he was our manager, when we decided to choose someone else, people were like, "Why are you sacking an English guy?" And the outrage you get. I think it's probably made worse because he's English, etc. But we all knew that there was a particular ceiling with Gary O'Neill, and Areola could probably do more than what he could. But I was pleased for him his start. But sometimes I just felt the further he gets into a job, the more comfortable he gets, and these kind of things happen, it starts unraveling. And at the moment, I'm like, as a Bournemouth fan that's seen a lot of his football, not just the games that the media decided to laud, like the 3-2 win at Spurs and all that kind of stuff. They loved all that, and of course, you know, the win versus Man City last season. I can't see a way out for them unless they like pull the trigger. Sadly, because I don't know, it just looks really dispirited from them, and I can't really see. I don't think he's the master tactician to get them out of the hole that they're in. But obviously, that's just my opinion.
As a club, they're in a really weird place though as well, aren't they? They ripped out the squad and haven't like backed it or put anyone in there as a decent replacement in terms of players.
So you can't just keep selling your best players and them not replacing, because eventually, even though Gary O'Neill, I think, has done a good job there, that catches up with you. You can't just continue to do that and not even, because who have they actually brought in? Like, I can't even remember this summer. I know they would have bought players, but I can't think of anyone of note that they've brought in.
I think they brought in a Scandinavian striker.
Yeah, the guy from. Do you know what it is for me with Wolves? Sorry, do you know what it is for me with Wolves? It's in the first few games they've had quite a tough run. I think it's when Gary O'Neill starts losing to teams in and around him. If he doesn't get the wins, then I think he might have problems. Because then you're in that situation of when do you pull the trigger? Because this is the problem some clubs have. They leave it too long to sack a manager, or they get trigger happy and go too early. Because you're looking at the first, and you look at them. Liverpool, they've played Chelsea, they're playing us. They've had some difficult fixtures. They've had Newcastle, and it depends what you're judging Gary O'Neill on. Are we judging him on the top teams, or are we going to judge him on the teams in and around? It depends which way they want to go, because it is early, and I think you can. To me, I think they'll give him till Christmas, see what they do. But I think probably December time, I think they'll make the decision.
I saw a stat that he's won 5 points out of his last 66 available.
Yeah, he's not. Like, they didn't finish the season.
Say that again. What was that?
He's won 5 points out of his last 66 available.
5 from 66.
Yeah.
Even 10 halves are not that bad.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Hey, if they want to swap,
okay, then they might end up sacking him then.
I'm all for it if they want to swap.
I didn't know it was that bad.
That's like 22
games.
games.
That's mad.
Don't do that.
That's 22 games. I'm no good at maths, but that is 22 games, and he's got 5 points.
66.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's sackable, man. That's sackable.
Do you know what?
Will be in the job.
Jesus. You know what I will say? Martin's spot on, because I think they've played. I read a stat. They've played 6 of the top 8 already. I think they even played you lot Pots as well. Yeah, so they played a tough team. Martin's spot on. I think when Wolves fans, from what I know, have already lost patience. But I think when if they start losing to teams around them, Martin's spot on. I think that's when they're gonna pull the plug. But the only positive I'll give Wolves fan, and I think Martin will agree, is that City won't keep a clean sheet, because they've not kept a clean sheet since the opening day of the season. So Wolves will probably get a goal. I don't know what that will mean to their fans. Something to cheer about. At least. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan. I can see a comfortable City win. I can see a 3-1. 3 or 4-1.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, man. I think City will be fine. I don't really get, let me just lastly, before we move to Arsenal, Martin, this Man City thing is bizarre to me. Like LB said to me, I think Man City need a massive rebuild. Look, I understand you might need to go and get a couple of players to upgrade upon the ones that are leaving, and if they do leave, or the ones that are hitting their 30s. But a complete rebuild? I mean, wow, what's going wrong at Smith City? I don't get it.
There's not. There's a little bit of anxiousness because of the Pep situation. But the thing is, City have got a plan in motion. There's a reason Hugo Viana's coming in already, and he's starting in January. So he's going to shadow Cheeky for 6 months and then take over fully from July, from the summer. And Pep's got a decision to make. Personally, I think Pep will do the 10 years. I think he'll sign a 2-year deal, but from my understanding, it'll be a 1+1. So there'll be a breakout, there'll be a get-out clause in that second year. And at the moment, all signs, the 2 they want is Alonso or Amorim. They are very big on Alonso at the moment. It's what Alonso then wants to do, or it'll be Amorim.
Please leave.
It's going to be one of those.
Just leave him alone, please. Just leave Alonso alone.
And the only thing, just to throw out, there was a great piece in the Athletic the other day. Viana is very different to Chica. Viana doesn't he's not as grumbling over a few million quid. So like Bruno, we were willing to go to 85 million, but he had a 100 million release clause. Apparently Viana is one of them. Right, we'll pay the 100 million. He's not gonna mess around over 10 million quid. So I think you'll see City being a bit more aggressive. I do think we need 3 or 4 players in that midfield because there's 6, 7 players coming up to 30, 32. That sort of dangerous age where you've got to make a decision. Bernardo's out of contract in 2026. Edison's got to make a decision soon on his contract. Rodri, we need a replacement for because he's out for about 14, 15 months. KDB at the moment will be out of contract, but they are looking at Wirtz, or they're also looking at a young lad from Shakhtar Donetsk. And don't ask me to try and pronounce his name. Sudov, whatever his name is.
I know you're on about. We were linked with him for years, Martin Sudakov. I think us, Chelsea, and yourself. I think Arsenal even linked with him. He's been linked to everyone.
Very, very good player. But that is the type of player. But it depends which way we go. We might go the all-out Wirtz, Musiala route, or we might do something else. I can't. I'm just one of them. I know there will be a drop-off after Pep. We're not going to get 100 points, trebles, doubles. We're not going to do that. What Pep has done has been out of this world. But as I say to every City fan, we won titles before Pep. We will win titles without Pep. You're just going to thank Pep for what he does. And if he does 10 years and makes that decision, great for everyone else. But I'm not panicking because I'll panic when the board go out the door. That's when I'm going to panic. While that board is there, I'm 100% comfortable because they are excuse the pun here, oiled machine. Literally and figuratively.
Class, love that. I think you'll do something in January as well. I think you're going to get a Zubamendi or somebody like
100%. Yeah, I know that. We are spending money in Jan.
Yeah, I don't know who it'll be, but it'll be somebody like that, right?
Zubamendi's been linked. This Ricci from Torino's been looked at. That I know a few clubs are. Real Madrid, Arsenal, somebody else having a look at him. 22-year-old. There's been the Edison. They're looking at from Atalanta, and they're also looking at Homeland. Surprise, surprise, at Sporting, which I'm not sure if that's just a bit of lazy journalism and not just putting 2 and 2 and trying to click it in with the Hugo Viana stuff. But it's exciting to me. Do you know what it is with me, Potts? I'm excited about the future.
That's fair, man.
I look at this as it'll be the end of the 115, end of the ATP. End of an era with Pep, and we just move on into a brand new era, and I'm excited for it. Sometimes I don't want to do what United did with Ferguson. I saw too many of my friends, and what United fans did a lot of was rely on the Ferguson. All they talked about was the Ferguson era. And every manager then got compared to Ferguson going, I don't want to do that with Pep. I'm already seeing it. Well, the next manager's got to be Spanish. Why? Because Pep was. We can't think like that. We can't try and get a Pep Guardiola regen. You're not going to get Pep Guardiola. He's the best in the world for a reason. Let him go off into the sunset. And personally, I don't even think he'll leave City. As in, I think he'll leave the manager's room. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up either in America, in New York, or ends up in a Klopp role, sort of similar within the CFG. Just my thinking, anyway.
No, look, you're right. And at the moment, Man City got a lot they're playing for, and Pep's still here. So there's no point saying goodbye to him. We don't know what's happening yet. And I can't wait for him to go, if I'm honest. But I don't think it's going to be this season. I think it's going to be at least another couple. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think City will take a W at the weekend against Wolves, that's for sure. Liz, it's up to Arsenal and Bournemouth. Sam, you and I have spoke about this on your channel for a bit, so I thought I'd get you on here. Thoughts on this one? You're very respectful of Arsenal, and you said that Arsenal were gettable not so long ago, but they're not so gettable now. Do you still feel like that going into this weekend, bruv?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is weird being a Bournemouth fan. I mean, what's a Bournemouth fan doing on this particular show? It's really weird, like top 6 everywhere.
Oh, man, you're always welcome, man.
By the way, I just need to clear something up. I've been doing my own stats because it was a tweet that I read about that. 5 points from 66. It's 6 from 51. So it's not that bad. On that basis, Wolves are winning 2-0 at the weekend, right? No, they're not. I think, look, I think it's so difficult because, like I've said to you on a different show, Arsenal sort of, you play them 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, they felt as though they're a team that was gettable because they had a soft underbelly. I don't see that now. I really don't. We've taken 5 points off you, 5 more than we have over Man City, but that's when Man City, and Man City are still in that same position as being so strong. Arsenal, I think, have got up to that level, and I think, you're in the conversations now in terms of not just top four, not just title contenders, also title favourites at times. So you're rolling into town on like Saturday night, and Bournemouth fans aren't expecting much, but it's just that home thing, isn't it? Like home advantage, under the lights, small stadium, we can generate an atmosphere, that kind of thing. But really, obviously, player for player, you are miles better. But football works in funny ways. So, Sky have televised this for a reason because there can be an upset. All it takes is just a few players on your side, you like to have a bad day, to get riled by a particular challenge or something like that, and you don't know what's going to happen. One thing I can say is that last time we played you, we lost 4-0 at home. It was in September when Iraola was having a real bad time at AFC Bournemouth. He was 9 games in, hadn't won, and we had a horror start as well. And this is a team that had been used to playing very purposeful, pragmatic football under Gary O'Neill. They had to basically rip up the rule book and start playing a different way under Iraola, but ways that were a little bit strange to them. But finally it clicked. But that clicking moment happened a few games after we played Arsenal, where we were all over the place. Granted, in the return fixture at your place, we lost 3-0, which is I think it was a flattering scoreline because it was a closer game than what it was. We put the ball in the back of the net. It was VAR'd off. Still conjecture about that. You had a penalty where I think Havertz left his leg dangling, and we were thinking, is it a pen, is it not? It was closer than what the 3-0 scoreline suggested. But I think football-wise, it's going to be really interesting to watch. I think it's going to be a good game. But ultimately, the experience that the Arsenal players have got playing the top teams regularly means that they're probably going to win this. But we'll give you a game, and I think the footballing neutrals, the football community looking on Sky Sports on Saturday night will hopefully appreciate it. I think it'll be closer as well. I do think it'll be closer, but I can't sit here and say that we're going to get a result or anything like that because we won't. I think I put it down as a 2-1 loss. Could even be 3-1, but as long as we're competitive, then I'm happy because that kind of momentum will take us into more winnable fixtures against Aston Villa away and Man City at home.
That's going to be tough as well, Sam. But listen, before I move, what's your team lineup going to be? Bournemouth's lineup, that is.
I think it's going to be a Kepa in goal. Right back is going to be Adam Smith, Marcus Senesi, and Ilya Zabani as centre backs. Milos Kerkez left back, who I know you are very keen on him, Hungarian lad. He was ruled out of Hungary for injury in the week, but I think that was more of a precautionary thing on our part, really. Just ahead of him, Lewis Cook and Ryan Christie. Lewis Cook, I think he wants to be involved in England conversations, and because he plays for us like Dom Solanke did, it doesn't matter. If you put him at a bigger club, all of a sudden, he's getting a call up. That's one of them. I think, and then Antoine Semenyo, of course, on the right hand side. I think Justin Kluivert is probably going to play in the number 10. Marcus Tavernier is going to be up there, and Evan Nilsson up front. So that's the 11 that I'll go for anyway.
Interesting, man. Some good players, man. They can cause us some problems. I said like Semenyo. I think he's a baller. We were linked with him today, Sam. I don't know how much that is, how heavy of a rumour that is. 35 million as cover for Saka, we're being told, in January or the summer. I don't know how true that would be. I think he'd be a really good player. Go on, Roms.
Can I just chime in here? Just a personal story, right? I know Semenyo's cousin quite well. So when we were like 7 or 8, we used to play in the cages together. And when you just know someone's going to make it. Like, he went to Bristol quite young. And I think he even scored in the Carabao against one of the big clubs. I can't remember. But I'm so happy. I know he's a fan favourite down at Bournemouth. He scores in most of your big games. He scores just in general. But yeah, I'm just proud of him because he's gone from strength to strength. And I know you'll probably accept this, Sam, but if he keeps going on this trajectory, you might not keep him that long. But he's been a talent from very young. But
He's
yeah, it's
huge for
nice
us.
to see him doing well.
The way he's right-footed, he's left-footed. For a left-back, it must be a nightmare. You don't know whether he's going to cut in or he's going to run to the byline and whip the ball in. Like you said, at Bristol City, but played a lot of the lower league football as well. So he's got a good grounding in British football. And in terms of the physicality, I'd be scared to play against him, man, because he's a beast. So yeah, he's on a 5-year contract at the moment. We tied him down, so he will go for good money. Hopefully he keeps on playing as well as he can. We can get a good season out of him because there are, I know, teams that sniff him. Newcastle's one of them as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. But obviously, being in the position we are at Bournemouth and doing quite well for our size and for a Premier League team of our ilk, I think we've got to accept that the conveyor belt's now going to move faster and our players are going to go in and out the door quicker than ever, which puts pressure on our recruitment. But he's one that we plucked out fairly early doors from Bristol City. I think he was going to be mainly used as a backup for Solanke, but then he found his feet on that right hand side, and since then he's really hit the ground running. So he's brilliant for us.
Listen, I think he's a baller, and I'll be more than happy if we were linked with players like that, because it means, and you know what, it's compliment to him as well, because if you get linked with players like that, it means you're doing bloody well. So, yeah, fair play to Semenyo. Look, I have Arsenal winning this one 3-1. We do have a hell of a lot of players that have got late fitness tests, but I think Arteta's playing a bit of mind games there, if I'm honest with you. Saka, Partey, Havertz, Martinelli, Timber, Tomiyasu, apparently all could be out. I don't think that's going to happen. They'll all come back. I think internationally they're going to be fine. We've heard this before quite a lot about Mikel Arteta saying, we've got real doubts about this. When the lineup comes out, it's like, they're all playing. So that does happen quite a lot. And to be fair, I said this earlier on another stream that this happens a lot and used to happen quite a lot in the Wenger and Fergie days, where Fergie would be like, yeah, well, Rooney's out. You won't be seeing him. And then who's lining up? Wayne Rooney. So it's like this happens a lot, man, and it's happening again. And when it's like, I think sometimes years, I expect Saka to play. The guy plays every other single game, so I imagine he'll line up. The only one I would say is probably a doubt from Arteta's interview is Martinelli. They're saying that he's not quite sure, but I think the other will be fine. But we've got trust out there. Maybe or Jesus will get a nod. So we've got some cover. Let's see what we do. Let's go for some.
And I think there's something.
I thought it was me. Is the mic moving funny?
Yeah, the mic's coming in and out.
I thought it was on my side. That's why I didn't say nothing. I thought
is this not bad?
Nah, it's fine now.
It's better now.
It's better now. Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies for that, guys. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was my wife.
Anyway, don't worry.
You sound like you're underwater. You only come up and down of water. That's what it was sounding like.
I don't know if it was my Wi-Fi playing up. Something's telling me my Wi-Fi was going, so maybe that sorted my mic out. But anyway, let's do some predictions for this. Sam, you said a loss 2-1. Did you say?
2-1, probably 3-1, but let's be optimistic and go for 2.
Okay, well, I've said 3-1. Flawless, what are you saying?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can see nothing but Arsenal win. Win like 2-0.
Okay, Roms.
Same as Flawless. I've just had 2-0 in my head, so yeah, 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay, Dan?
I'm trying to remember what I said a minute ago, mate. I think I said 3-1, so I'm going to stick with that.
Cool. Martin?
5-0 Bournemouth. Sorry, no. I'm gonna go with 3-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Sam's like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah. Fair.
Nah. Fair play to you, man. Fair play. Listen, let's close on Manchester United. Sorry to do this, Flawless, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we just close. Yeah, just
yeah.
Close.
I mean, look, I've only left the last 5 minutes for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to have the mic. But Manchester United versus Brentford. I mean, it's going to be a tough game, funny enough. And I said this to Saeed. Every game's tough when it comes to Man United at the moment. But Brentford are actually a team that I respect a lot this season. They're entertaining to watch. They've kept very, very much on top, even though Tony's gone. I don't think there's been a massive hole left at all, if I'm honest. I think that's a big compliment to them. And if you can keep the ball for the first 2 minutes, you might not let them score in the first minute.
That's what I was going to say. I was checking it. It's their last 4 Premier League games. They've scored like inside the first 2 minutes.
Crazy,
they're scoring inside the first 2 minutes. We already know we start slow. They are definitely like odds on to score against us. early. Like, I can see it already. Can literally see it from kick. And we'll start with the ball. That's what will make it worse. They'll kick off and probably give the ball away. And then they'll make it score inside the first 2 minutes. You just know it is a tip. Like, you just know that we are definitely stupid enough and just capable of doing that. Like, surely that's a part of the game plan. This team have scored scored inside the first 2 minutes in their last 4 Premier League matches. Don't give them the ball. You know what I'm saying? Just string together some passes and get into the game. But I can already see that. But yeah, in regards to it, only thing I'd say, I'm not sure midfield, because I know Maino's injured. I heard Agate got injured on international duty. I'm not sure how true that is. And our options are thin, even when everybody's fit, not firing, everyone's fit and available. So midfield, the team pretty much picks itself. It's going to be a struggle, like you said. Performance won't be good. Can we get a result? Yeah, we're capable of getting a result. There ain't really too much else to say. Like, it's just bleak. It's just not good. How
has he kept his job past this international break, bro?
That's how he kept his job. Like, done. Like, that's what it is. And I've spoken on Ineos many a time before they got part ownership, as they got the ownership, all during their reign, and it's been awful. That's all they've shown, is incompetence. They've just proved me right at every turn, and I wanted to be wrong. I wanted them to want what's best for Manchester United, and they're proving that that's not the case, and it's just incompetence from top to bottom. Like, there's so many things they've done wrong just on the managerial side of things, and him still keeping his job. So I can't even say where the bar is. Like, he always seems to be one bad result away from losing his job, but who knows? We could lose to Brentford and he keeps his job. That's where I'm at with it. I don't even think it's that. We could lose. Let's say we lose the game 2-0. I don't think he necessarily gets sacked.
That's mad, isn't it? I don't know, man. I just look at Man United right now and I just don't get any of it. I mean, Martin, you must be howling because as a Man City fan, you must be liking it. But what can you make any sense of this, bruv?
Not real. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one because you're hearing they're going into meetings, and you're hearing Radcliffe saying it's not his decision to sack Ten Hag, and well, whose decision is it? I've said it 1,000 times, and Flawless knows this. I don't know who's running the club. Who's running the damn place? I find it madness. It's like because the thing is Brentford now like the Champions League final, FA Cup final for Ten Hag, and then he gets a result, and then you go to the next game, and I don't know. I don't know where United go with it, because I had United in the top 4. Seriously, I did.
Why?
But no, because my idea was I thought they would have sacked Ten Hag. I wasn't seeing Ten Hag there by November.
First.
That was the reason I did it. But for some reason, I don't know whether it's the payout they've got. I don't know what it is. There is something he's got over on hold on him that he's unsackable. I don't get it. And trust me, there's a lot. All of my United fans are just, I don't even know what to say to them anymore, because I feel sorry for them, because they're literally, I feel sorry to a part, feel sorry for them. But I'm just sat there going, is this how we was 20 years ago?
Martin, bro.
This is how we sounded.
Martin, just to interject, don't say you even feel sorry for them, bro. We waited for days.
I feel sorry for my friends. I feel sorry for my friend.
Fair.
Even though they all bullied me as a kid. But no, it was, I don't know what United do. Because the thing is, who's out there to go and get? This is always the question.
Do you know what, Martin, right? I've said, and Flores has said this from the start, I've always said eyes need to be on Ineos, because they interviewed we've had this conversation many times, but they knew you weren't the guy they settled. Cool, we know all of that. But trolling aside, I said on most platforms, I think he was, I thought he would have been gone the last 2 weeks. I thought they would have sacked him in the international break. It has now got to a point where I genuinely believe he's there probably until the new year, because it's like now, if you're going to sack him now, there'll be even more outrage, because like he had 2 weeks to do it. People are saying there's no available candidates. There are. Come on, a good 90% of managers will do a better job than him. It's genuinely now Ineos. I would say if I was a United fan, you can't now be annoyed at Ten Hag, because you would say, oh, he's going to sack himself. There's enough games that he has sacked himself and they still not pulled the plug. So now all anger needs to be directed at Ineos, because Ten Hag's kind of said to himself, he's kind of said, I've done everything bad. I've literally done as bad as possible, and they still not sacked me. All anger needs to be at Ineos now, because the damage is done, and they obviously can't see it, or if they can, they're just choosing to ignore it. It's crazy what's going on there.
And here the thing is, people trying to make sense of it, trying to make logic of it, which I get. Whether it's Manchester United fans that I've had debates with, or whether it's rival fans, I keep telling people, stop trying to make sense of it. Not just stop trying to make there's nothing logical about it. They are just terrible at what they do. Like, let's just and with the whole, it wasn't the FA Cup, it wasn't the letter, because they interviewed Thomas Tuchel. So if Thomas Tuchel would have accepted the job, he would currently be Manchester United manager. So despite whether you think that's right or wrong, is not the point I'm making it. The point I'm making is they all decided in the summer he wasn't good enough. It was universal. He was out the door. They've shown their incompetence by being unable to get a manager, which is crazy. To tell me there's no candidates is ridiculous. Absolutely, like that is from their side of things. Like, forget ours as fans. Our talent pool for the most part is much smaller than theirs. There's managers out there you can go and get 110%. You're Ineos. You're telling me the only manager you had in line was Thomas Tuchel, showing your incompetence further. So it wasn't the FA Cup, it wasn't the letter, and then you've decided to keep him. Absolute dreadful decision, horrendous. And then somebody there has now turned around, or multiple people are saying, all right, let's keep him. So what have you seen in this season to decide to keep him? It all comes back to the same thing.
Flawless, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. Yeah. Why did Ten Hag say 2 weeks ago it's not his decision?
Oh, you mean
whose decision is it?
You mean
whose decision? Yeah. Whose decision is it?
When he's saying that in regards to, because he mentioned this, he said, I designated people to make this decision. Now, of course, you have an influence, yes. But the reason he got Barada and Wilcox and Dan Ashworth and the rest of the people there on the board is to make that. So does he have input? Yes, of course he has input. But he's not designated to do it. So say he did want to get rid of the manager. If Barada and Dan Ashworth, one of the Glazers, is on the board as well, and Wilcox were like, no, that's where I think the clash is happening. The reason he's still here is because somebody or multiple people on that board are fighting for him. Who that is, I don't know, because there's been no speculation or no talk about it. So it's a guessing game.
Flawless, you're spot on, because I feel like it has to be a unanimous decision. I feel like, because I genuinely believe there might be one or two that want him gone, but because there's another two that want him to stay, you've now come at an impasse, and now you can't sack him because two people are still in favor. It's crazy what's going on. I genuinely.
Go on, fam. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I genuinely thought he would have been gone this part. I'm over the moon. You know me. I'm over the moon.
I was convinced. I
genuinely thought he would have been gone. And it is ludicrous that he is still here. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
And again, it's incompetence, but people didn't want to accept it because it was Ineos. Because I said this, if the Glazers had done what any of us have done since they got here, we would have slaughtered them. And rightfully so. But because it's Ineos, you've seen it, Rums. You've spoken to Manchester United fans outside of myself. Letting it go. I'm debating this with United fans on the stream. Like, are we just letting it slide? Like, are we just ignoring this? Oh, it's Ineos. Give them. Why are we giving them time?
And Flawless.
Giving them time what? For what?
That's why I got big respect for you, because you were the first United fan I spoke to. You called it out from the jump. The minute you won the FA Cup and they gave him a year extension or whatnot, you said, I'm not in favor of these guys. Their first decision, they failed. Like, how can I trust these guys going forward? You were the first one to call it out. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And you don't need to be a mystic or have a crystal ball to see it. This is why I said the season is a write-off before. You can't write off the season. Why can't you write off? What do you mean I can't write off it? Do you see what's going on? It's like people forget. I keep saying it's the Men in Black thing. It's like United play bad or have a bad season. We get hit with the Men in Black pen, and everyone just forgets what happens. And I'm like, do we support different teams? Like, people telling me, we can. Why can't we finish third? Look at the team and look at the manager. Why can't we compete for top? Are you aware? Like, again, as people, I think their emotions and love for the club rather than actually looking at what is going on. And Ineos have just compounded that, and they're worse than I expected. Like, I thought they'd be bad, but I didn't expect them to be this bad. Woeful. But, hey.
It's been terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. But I can't believe he's still there. Obviously, he is still there. I think it's mad, but Ruud van Nistelrooy taking over interim for the rest of the season, game week 7, people are calling for. I mean, game week 7, crikey. Like, surely there's a manager out there you can go and get. I mean, you're supposed to be Man United.
Sorry to cut you off. the interim one, this is what makes the incompetence even worse. Is like you have the solution right there. If you give Rude the job to interim, you then have the entire rest of the season to then go and select your new manager. It's really, I'm like, why can't that be done? Give the job to Rude
But
to interim.
You know what'll happen though? You know
What?
what'll happen? Ruud van Nistelrooy will do a fantastic job to the end of the season. They'll give him a 2-year, 3-year contract, and then you'll be right back to where you were again in 12 months if Ruud van Nistelrooy goes down the path.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. It becomes a vicious circle. You're just in a vicious circle.
Bro, that's why they don't need to. And I said this,
Crazy.
don't give Rude the job at all. That's why I would say, like, don't give. But I'd give him the interim role because it makes sense as for now. But again, people are just showing up. They're just bad at their job, and people don't want to accept it.
Looking that way, man. 14th, it should never. Man United should never go in the same sentence. It's crazy, man. Listen, we've come to a close. Absolute legends. Thank you all so much for coming on. Please make sure that you go and follow all of these guys, man. All their socials are there. You'll see it. You've got Back in the Net podcast from Sam. You've got That's Me Flawless of Sarcasm City TV. You've got Roms on all socials and all platforms. BDB Dan likewise on all platforms. And the Mancunian Way Martin's Manchester City content and channel. Please make sure you go and drop them all a subscribe now, people. After, of course, you've hit like and subscribe on this one. Going to redirect you over to Igal. Big up to every single one of you. Take care. See you next time. We're out of here, people. Peace.